The Saints will welcome the Rams in on Sunday. It's a rare 3:05 kick inside the Dome. I always appreciate the 3:05 kick when I was going to games because I do like to have a couple cold beers at the game, and I just always found it a little bit awkward going to the game and having a couple of pops and then walking out at 3 o'clock. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
I cannot believe.
Got a bit of a buzz. Like, am I supposed to go out? Do I just go home and take a nap? Like, what's the rest of the afternoon hold?
I cannot believe you're saying this right now because you're also the same guy that I talked to yesterday saying that even though you're going to be playing golf at 8 o'clock in the morning,
that's a
you're still
holiday.
going to be drinking.
I don't have work the next day.
Okay.
It's a weekend. It's a holiday.
It's Sunday.
Sunday's I got to go to work tomorrow. So but if it's a 3:05 game, you just roll out of there like 6:15. You go have a glass of wine or something at dinner, and then you call it an early night. It's just a more efficient use of the Sunday fun day.
All right, that's fine.
Okay. Well, either way, they're going to play at 3:05, and it'll be the Saints and the Rams. The Rams on paper, offensively, look incredible. You got Matthew Stafford, who I guess is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think that's probably fair to say. He's got his Super Bowl now, and he's going to hold a ton of records because he's been in the league so long in a past-happy era. I would suggest he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. You have Cooper Kupp, who was the best receiver in the league a couple of years ago. You've got Puka Nacua, who set the world on fire last year. Kyron Williams has been great at running back for him. Like, the skill positions for the Rams look really, really good, but they just haven't been consistent. One, they haven't been healthy start to finish, but nobody really is in the NFL. And they just have not been as consistent as you would like. I mean, you're talking about a team that has only scored 2 first-quarter touchdowns this year. 2. That's just getting off to terrible starts. They did score a touchdown in the first quarter in the game against Philly, and then in the second quarter, they had minus 6 yards of offense. They were 0 of 8 on third down against Philadelphia. That's the first time in 5 years they didn't convert a third down. Now, a caveat to that, they did go 3 of 3 on fourth down. But still, you're trying to convert on those third downs. You go 0 for 8. That's not very efficient. They just have not quite gotten it in gear thus far offensively. Now, the question is, are the Saints game enough, man enough to step up and stop them? You're talking about a team that scored 20 on Philly. They scored 15 on the Dolphins. They scored 26 on Seattle, 20 on the Raiders, 19 on the Packers, 18 on the Bears, 10 on the Cardinals. And this is not a team that's consistently scored 28, 30 points. And the Saints have been susceptible to some of that previous to this last 2 weeks. And I do feel like while you have maybe made some improvement and gotten a little healthier over the last 2 weeks, it certainly helps when you play some of the lesser teams in the NFL. And Cleveland offensively qualifies as one of the lesser teams in the NFL, certainly, with Jameis Winston playing quarterback. And, Atlanta is pretty good, but and you held them to 17 points, so maybe that's a step in the right direction. It's a question that will be answered coming up on Sunday. I still think Matt Stafford's got enough in the tank to make plays. I think Cooper Kupp's probably lost a step, but you're talking about 2 young corners that you're trying to cultivate. That's a tough challenge for them. So is certainly Puka Nacua on the other side. And then run defense, which has been vital to this Saints team. When they've played well, they've stopped the run. When they have struggled, they've gotten gashed. We saw Carolina establish the ground game on them. We saw the Chargers establish the ground game on them. We saw the Broncos run all over the place. They were just running wild in that game. Tampa scored 51 points. And I'm trying to parse together how much of the Saints' struggles over that 7-game losing streak was talent, how much was execution, how much was a culture disaster. And there's really no way to know until we get more sample size on the other side. It made all the sense in the world the Saints went out there and played well against Atlanta, and it made, because that bump and the renewed sense of life and the cloud being lifted up with the firing of Dennis Allen, it made a lot of sense that they would do that, and it makes a lot of sense to beat the Browns, quite frankly. It just does. But can you sustain it? And I think the Rams are a good test, because if Detroit was coming into the Dome, well, I think we all know how that would go. If Mahomes was coming to the Dome or you were going to Kansas City, I don't feel like you would maybe necessarily learn a lot about this Saints team because they're just not going to win those games. But the Rams are essentially similar to the Saints in terms of talent and in terms of what they've done to this point in the year. They've gotten dusted a couple times against some of the better teams in the league. They've showed up and had some nice performances. They've got a veteran quarterback. Kamara and Kupp probably similar in terms of where they are in their careers. And so if the Saints can go out there and beat this Rams team, I think that would show me that there was something broken late in that Dennis Allen tenure in addition to the injuries. If the Rams come in here and win a 38-17 game, I'll go, well, you got the coach bump and the Browns stink. You're coming off a bye. You're as healthy as you've been in a long time, and you're playing a team that's essentially on level footing with you, and it's in your building. This will tell me a lot about where this Saints team is and what Darren Rizzi is doing. I'm personally not sitting here right now and banging the table for Darren Rizzi to become the next coach of the Saints. I'm not. I think the Saints need to clean house and rip this thing to the studs. I've been steadfast in that. But I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to watch. And this would be a good start to that. I'm not going to learn a lot from playing the Giants because they are a dumpster fire, and that's next. But you talk about Rams, Commanders who are struggling right now, at the Packers who are very good, Raiders. If you can get something going in that stretch of season, I'll listen. Right now, I'm in wait-and-see mode. I can explain the Falcons game. I can explain the Browns game. It becomes more difficult to do that if they beat the Rams. I'm not talking about the playoffs. I'm not talking about the division. I'm just talking about these 60 minutes that we're going to watch on Sunday. And if the Saints can show up and play a solid football game against a team they're level with, I think that there's reason to start thinking about Darren Rizzi as a guy that's really changed some things in there. And it's more than just the injuries. There's been a renewed sense of belief. And you could point to Las Vegas with the Raiders and say, well, they kind of succumbed to that and they're not very good this year. And that's fair. It's a hard league. But I'm not at that inflection point just yet. Maybe I get there coming up on Sunday. The Rams are a favorite, a slight favorite in the Superdome. We'll give a pick for that game coming up a little bit later on this show. Our Saints coverage, always on YouTube. You can find it Hunt on Saints on YouTube. Again, that's Hunt on Saints. All our Saints coverage is right there, cut up into little 8, 10, 12-minute segments so you don't have to scroll through the entire show to find some Saints content. You can just do it right there at the touch of a button on our YouTube channel, Hunt on Saints. Subscribe to that if you would. We'd certainly appreciate that. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.